So it's by Shirley Jump, who's our speaker today, right? So this lady, like, her background is so amazing. She's written 84 books in how many? 24 languages. She's written books from professionals in the sports arena to entrepreneurs who made it through the pandemic to folks in the White House. So Kevin, if you're listening there at the Historical Society in the basement of the White House, call Shirley. She can help you. So without further ado, a lady who really needs no introduction because she's on the New York Times best-selling author list 80 sometimes, Shirley Jump.
Well, I'm going to wait a second for Matt to move the camera back because I was an overachiever and created a PowerPoint, so he's got to do a little bit there. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see it because my background is white there.
That's okay.
And I'm going to have to juggle a mic and my remote and the books and stuff. I got it. I got it. Okay. And I'm blonde, so if I mess up any of this, just forgive me for that. Yes, I am Shirley Jump. I have been in the publishing industry for 30 years. I won't tell you how old I am, but I did start when I was 11, not with publishing, but with working for a newspaper, and sold my first book right after I got out of college. So I've done a lot in this industry, and I've been a ghostwriter, book content builder, and book editor for, I don't know, probably 2 decades, and I've worked on at least 100 books and ghostwritten 20 or 30, and I work for some celebrities and people that I cannot name because I have an NDA. So what I've noticed with my clients, which is what I'm hoping people can do with the Best Business Minds of Tampa Bay, or any book you decide to do down the road, is I help them strategize on how they're going to make money off of the book. Because if you're hoping to make the money off of Amazon, you might as well go play the slots at Vegas. Because honestly, Amazon is not necessarily where the money is. I do know people that are making 6 figures off of Amazon all the time. But there are 15 million books on Amazon. If you went into a room of 15 million people and tried to find that one person that was your connection, it would take you years, right? So it's very hard, depending on the algorithm, depending on your advertising, depending on how much you promote, to count on Amazon to bring you your revenue. Where the revenue really comes for business people is from becoming an expert. Now, with the authors for the Best Business Minds in Tampa Bay, they were #1 in 2 categories when we launched this on Amazon. We did a coordinated launch with all of the other authors, and that helped a lot because there's 50 authors in this book. And so hopefully all 50 promoted it. I don't know that they all did, but hopefully they all did. When I had Writing Compelling Fiction come out, let me take my book here. Sorry about that. When I had Writing Compelling Fiction come out, that came out last October, I did a big pre-order push. So I had this for 2 or 3 months. I had people pre-ordering the book so that when it came out, it hit #1 immediately. And this was at a $4.99 price point. You don't have to be free or 99 cents or whatever in order to do that. It was a $4.99 price point. I had a significant amount of pre-orders and it hit #1. I did a 99-cent sale recently and it hit #1 again. So it is possible, but am I standing here driving, an Escalade and, jetting off to Tahiti on a regular basis? No. So my money is not coming from my royalties, despite having all those books published. And 90% of my books are published with New York. They're with Random House and Penguin Putnam and Hachette and major publishers, and they all have been. That's how I ended up in 24 countries. But I'm not making the kind of money that I would like to make from that. My money comes from a lot of other revenue streams, as does my clients. Oops, I think I'm going the wrong way. There we go. So Forbes has said more than once that a book is the #1 way to differentiate yourself in a crowded marketplace. How many realtors do we have in this room? How many mortgage people do you see at any networking event?
Only one Amazon best-selling author.
Only one Amazon best-selling author, that's true. So Sue's the only one in the room that can say that when she meets people. And despite the fact that there are 15 million books on Amazon, people are still impressed by the fact that you're an author. To them, it's like a unicorn thing. If I go to a party and mention I'm an author, people are all like, oh, where do you get your ideas? How did that happen? Blah, blah, blah. Everybody loves that. So it's a great way to differentiate yourself from everybody else in your marketplace. So I have this handout I give to all of my new clients called 15 Ways to Use Your Book for Revenue Streams strategically, because you have to be smart about it. When I meet with a client, I don't just say, hey, let's build your book and you can walk away and do what you need to do with it. I ask them what their 5-year goal is because I want to know how they're going to make money off of it. I don't want them to invest $15,000 with me to create a book, and it sounds like a lot of money, but it's like 150 hours of work. I don't want them to invest that much and then say, well, how am I getting my investment back? First of all, a book is a permanent advertisement for you. It is there forever and ever and ever. You are always going to be that author. Sue will always, and Carrie and everybody else in the room that was part of the Best Business Minds will always be an author of a #1 bestseller for the rest of their lives. So that's a permanent advertisement as opposed to a one-day ad in the Tampa Bay Times. It will be there for as long as you want to make use of it.
So we can put it on our tombstone?
You can put it on your tombstone if you'd like to. Yes, indeed.
Won't help with revenue.
Right.
They
Coaching.
can download the book here.
Coaching and consulting is probably the #1 way that my clients are making money off of their books. A lot of people mention books on law of attraction. I have 2 clients right now writing books on law of attraction in different perspectives. And both of them are doing coaching and consulting businesses. Mark Moyer, who owns Win Again, has used he coaches athletes in making the transition into other jobs and revenue streams and making that big transition from being an athlete and making all that kind of money into what are they going to do in the next chapter of their lives. Because they can't, unless they're Tom Brady, they can't be playing football forever, right? So his book is really great at helping them do that. But what he's been smart about is using this as a way to leverage himself as the expert coach in this industry. If he didn't have the book and he didn't have that expertise in this specific area where he talks about leveraging the athletic background in order to make it in business, he wouldn't stand out among the other coaches, right? Every one of us meet like 5 coaches a week. Everybody's a coach, but his is unique and different, and he established that with the book, which makes it really cool. The other way you can make money is off of speaking. With mine, I make way more money an hour speaking than I do doing anything else. And during COVID, that dried up, unfortunately, because that's part of what happened with the live event industry. But speaking makes me the majority of my money, and it's a lot easier to do than actually writing a book. What I do for a lot of my clients is I create what's called a one-sheet for speaking. Now, I did these myself in Canva. I would highly recommend hiring someone like Laura at Laura's Design Studio to do it professionally, because I just did these myself. But Darianne has never spoken before. She had a book called You've Got Some Nerve. She is a trauma survivor. And when we did the speaker sheet, we thought about 3 different areas she can speak in. She didn't want to just talk about trauma. She wanted to talk about PTSD, depression, becoming an advocate. Why would she go in 3 different directions? Because that gives her 3 different audiences to talk to, right? So you want to be strategic about it all the time, about who else can I talk to using this book as leverage. So those of you who did a business book, and even if you're not necessarily in a business that's business related, right, you can use that business aspect as one of your speaking engagement topics. So make use of the different areas that you can fit into. With myself, I offer a bunch of different workshops and things like that with people, and so I put together a one sheet as well for myself and put my little book on there. You can use it as continual calls to action on your website, on your social media. If you want people to do something, you can use the book as a means towards that. You can use it for online training. I don't know how many of you know Rosie Paulson. She is doing this really well with Nekke. She has the Nekke Academy. She has masterminds. She has coaching. She is using the book to leverage herself in the coaching and teaching fields. I do a lot of teaching as well with webinars. Webinar series and bulk sales. One of my clients went and spoke at a college, and he had them buy 100 copies of his book when he came and spoke. If you want a way for people to remember you and talk about you when you speak, offer to take a little bit of a cut in your speaking fee if they will buy a copy of the book for every person in the room. Because people will be very impressed that they met an author, and if they get a chance for you to sign it, even better. So you want to think about different ways that you can leave an impression, because people go home and go, oh my God, I met the author, I'm so excited, right? So that's why you want to use that as part of your speaking engagement. Corporate training. Some of my clients do corporate training, and this book, the book that they're creating and the accompanying workbook is something that the corporations will buy as part of their package for the training. So that gets them into another more lucrative area. Content creation. If you are good in a particular area, you are specifying yourself as an expert, and you can start creating content in that area. Membership programs. I have 2 clients right now. Their books are not done, so I don't have them with me. But they're doing membership programs for their particular method of coaching and teaching. And the whole book is geared towards driving people into that coaching program. So if you look at my book, every chapter or so, there's a call to action to download a handout on my website, so that after people close the book, they're hopefully engaging with me. And in order to download that handout, they have to sign up for my newsletter. So I have captured that data, I have captured that email address, and those are potential people for down the road. And that's what my other clients are doing that use theirs in the same way. Podcasts. I don't know if anybody knows Katie Boyd. I know that Mark's niece does. Katie Boyd is like my poster child for the best client ever, because she does a continual podcast. She has a thing on Mighty Networks. She does a lot of stuff with her book. Enough that she got hers printed in hardcover, which is not a cheap enterprise. But she has partnered with bigger brands. She created a subscription box. She's done everything right, the way that you want to do it with the book. And not everybody has that budget. That's why there's a lot of different options for you. You can do it as a product bundle, which is part of what Katie did, or you can do corporate sponsorships. I have some clients that have had other corporations sponsor the printing of their book so that they can offset the costs of the printing. The great thing about Amazon, though, is you can print on demand, and they're about $5 or $6 a piece to print, so you can just do them as you need them. Certification programs, the John Maxwell type kind of thing. You could, if you have a unique method of doing whatever you do, you can create a certification program from it and use your book as the basis of that. You can do it as a book series. Most of my clients that want to do more than one book, we come up with the idea for all 3, 4, 5 of them at the beginning, so that we're making sure, strategically again, that we're not loading everything into the first book. We're leaving some gaps so that people are inspired to buy the next few books. We have a 5-year plan rather than just a 1-book plan. And mini products. There are people that sell other little accompanying products and just use the book as a vehicle to get there. Your book isn't just words on the page, it's a vehicle to reach new clients, bigger audiences, and expand your visibility in the marketplace. It makes you stand out. If we asked how many people in this room are authors, I don't know how many do we have that are authors in the book? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, no, 8. That's out of a room of 35, 40, right? That's a small portion still of the room. And you're going to find that when you go someplace, you're going to be the lone or one of 2 or whatever authors. So it's going to be a way to make your business memorable. You use it as a marketing tool. Like I said, it's a permanent advertisement. And I see so many people just be like, okay, I was in that book, and then they never ever talk about it again after it's launched. Well, that's not what you want to do. You want to keep it in your LinkedIn profile. You want to put it on your social media. You want to put it on your website. You want to have it on your media kit. You want to have it everywhere that people look at you. You put the author of whatever your book is. The other thing that goes with that too is making sure it's a quality book. I've seen a lot of people put down that they're the author of XYZ, and they'll come to me for a consultation or whatever, and I check out their book. And if your book is terrible, people will think you're an idiot, right? You may not be an idiot, but if your book has misspellings, if the grammar is incorrect, if you rushed it and decided, I don't need an editor, I know how to write a sentence, it's going to show. And this is a direct, permanent reflection of you. So you want to make sure that it looks as good as you do, or that it puts your business in the best possible light, particularly if you're a newish business or you're really trying to establish yourself in a crowded industry. So I talked about Katie Boyd. There's her podcast. She was on Bravo TV, and there's her subscription box that she has. She did a live unboxing of it. She's been, like I said, she's made a lot of use of her particular book that she's got.
And the subscription box is very popular for girls.
It's very, yes. Yeah, she's partnered with like the makeup artists for the Kardashians to design a specific lipstick just for that subscription box. And some other kind of things that are unique. Victoria Duke was the makeup artist. So that people get things that are special just for them, for being a part of that. And then Rosie Paulson is local. She does a lot of speaking sheet. We've done a lot of different things for her based off of her book, which came out officially last year. And then that's me.
What does the title of her book mean?
It means grit in Ecuadorian. She is Ecuadorian. And so she wanted to use a word that was unique to her culture and to her. And that's the cool thing about her book, right? All of your books should be unique to you. Now, The Best Business Minds was a compilation, so that's a little bit different. But when you do a book, you don't want your book to be just like everybody else's. In order to stand out, it's got to be unique to you and your story. And that's the fun for me, is figuring out what makes that book unique to you and your story. We have time for questions, right? I think I did that very fast.
We do have time, but mention that one guy, because he's pretty famous.
Yes.
The Bronco guy,
Vance
right?
Johnson, the Denver Bronco, one of the 3 amigos. That's the first edition of the book. We are releasing an expanded second edition. It's nearly ready, but I still have the old cover up there because I don't have an updated one yet.
Question. I think you
Did I talk so
overwhelmed people.
fast
No,
that
you
nobody knows what to say, right?
No, that was super duper duper informative because
Thank you.
I didn't think about all those points
Right.
when it comes to being part of the book.
Right. There's a lot more to it. Yes, Jane.
Well, when you say, promote yourself and the book itself, okay, that's easy enough to do. But then, okay, do you then maybe take a portion of your story and put it on LinkedIn, or how should we really promote it?
That's a great question. Jane wants some specifics on what to do with her particular story in the Best Business Minds and how to really promote it. And she asked about doing a little excerpt on LinkedIn, and I think that's a great thing. If you guys have noticed in the Best Business Minds of Tampa Bay group on Facebook, I put a little front page excerpt of everybody's story when they are the featured author. When you're the featured author, if it hasn't been your turn yet, make more use of it, okay? Most people don't really make a lot of use of it. You're free that whole week to post about your business and to add a little snippet from your book. I usually use that little networking quote from everybody so that they have a little taste of who they are, because it's sort of like an introduction from a neighbor when you read that little snippet. And hopefully, if you're smart, you're choosing the snippet that leaves them wanting to know more, right?
Tell them about the journey.
The journey, right? Or a little bit like when I interviewed Cam for the book, he's my massage therapist. I had no idea that he got into it because his aunt and mother were in so much pain. This is stuff that I didn't know, and the story behind it is what binds people to you and makes them like, know, and trust you. And Jane has a fascinating story, and so sharing that is great. Yeah, Matt.
So at what point should somebody reach out to start working with you? Is it better if they have the full concept framework? Should they start before that? I mean, where do you prefer to come into the...
So Matt asked, where should people come into the process with me? And I want you there before the idea is formulated, okay? Because writing a book is a lot like building a house, right? Every single person in this room knows how houses work: foundation, walls, roof. But if I just threw a bunch of lumber on the ground and said, hey, go build a house, you have an idea of the basic framework, but you would go all over the place for months and months on end to make a lot of mistakes. And 100% of the new authors that I work with have a lot of wasted words because they kind of meander all over the page. They don't know the structure intuitively. They're not really clear on where they're going, and they usually put everything in the wrong order. And so it's a lot easier for me to build that book from the beginning on up so that we are always strategic and nobody's wasting anybody's time. Not mine, not yours. And every ancillary product is built at the same time. Yes, Matt.
So, then if I was hearing correctly, that means that also allows you to kind of put like the pre-launch strategy together, because I know that that was the question. I think Jane asked that, right? Like about
The
like,
pre-launch
the marketing.
strategy, yep.
So you get the pre-launch strategy, you can put that together before the book's even printed, and
Right.
then so you can work with them on both sides then too.
Right, yes, because a book is about a 9-month process depending on the client. It could be 6 to 12 months, but most people come in around 9 months. And we are building all of those potential products and things that they need along the way. We're doing a chapter at a time. It's not overwhelming to you. And then we're talking the whole time about what else are you going to do with this. You're going to build your classes? Okay, here's when I recommend building the classes. You want to start getting the pre-orders for the book? Here's when I recommend you start promoting it. All of those kinds of things go along with the process. And so if you find an editor that's just worried about the words and not worried about how you're going to make money off of this book, they're not going to be a whole lot of help to you, because it's really got to be about what are you going to use to increase your credibility, your expertise, and your portion of the marketplace with your book. So I think Mark's giving me the
I was
thing.
going to ask you a couple questions.